Hi folks, and welcome back to another Travels of Red Rover. I'm Shawn.
And I'm Corinne.
And where are we today?
We are at Soda Springs, which is part of the Mojave National Preserve. And this is down the road with the name Zzyzx.
And if you've ever traveled between Los Angeles and Las Vegas, you've gone by Zzyzx. It's just before you get to Baker, California. But before we get into that adventure, let's talk a little bit about our campsite the night before. We found an absolutely glorious spot up in Granite Pass, just outside the Mojave Preserve. It was a beautiful spot, but it took a little bit to get into, and we're going to talk about that right now. Well, Corinne found us a good campsite tonight. It was a bit of a trick to maneuver in here, but it was great. It's a great spot. So this is our campsite tonight. We're tucked away in these big boulders. There's the van. And more big boulders over there. And there's a bunch behind us as well. So Corinne and I really like this little fire can. But the single complaint that we have is that the flames go straight up in the air. And all the heat goes up in the air. So to fix that, I brought out our little fan from the van. And I'm letting the fan blow the warm air back towards Corinne and I. Much more comfortable. Well, despite it being heavily overcast, we ended up getting another pretty night. A little bit of color on these big rocks, behind these big rocks.
You might actually, I might have to do is back up and forth a little bit in order to make it.
I realized that was probably all gibberish, but that is actually me on the radio to Corinne getting some help getting out of a very difficult camping spot we'd gotten into. Now, it was an absolutely beautiful camping spot, and we'd definitely go back there again, but it was a significant trick getting into that spot, and it never ceases to amaze me what we can actually get into with the van. And that actually creates a problem for us quite often, because once we get in, we then have to be able to get out. And when we get into these boulder fields that we found at Granite Pass, by the way, a beautiful camping spot, highly recommend it, was a spot we'll definitely go back to. You have to figure out how to get yourself out. And what you can't really see here is just how tight the boulders, or the boulder field, comes up to the edge of the little road that's going in and out. Now, the challenge for the van isn't so much the width of the space to get out, it's the turning radius of the van and sort of where the breakover point is for the van in terms of turning. It's the spot where the van doesn't actually turn at 90 degrees. We kind of turn at about 60, 70 degrees. As you can see, I'm taking a great wide corner here, trying to make it and line up for the next little piece. And as I approach that little piece of road, you can see I'm going into a very little narrow area. Now, what you can't see right at the moment is that I've got to take one of two choices. I've got to make a 90-degree turn, or I drive in the opposite direction, back up, and then shimmy my way back around.
Not quite so tight to the tree.
Now, you just heard Corinne say, be careful of the trees. And I'm talking back
Say
to
again.
her.
Did you want to get in front of me?
No, I'm good.
So this is the spot where I have to make the turn. And what you're going to see me is go through two very closely set of boulders here. The road that I actually want to go down is to my right, but you'll see that I go left. This is the spot where I end up having to back up
Don't turn
and go
so
back
tight.
and forth.
Okay.
And you see I'm trying to miss these boulders as I go here. And actually having Corinne have another set of eyes really, really helps maneuvering around here. Also having a set of backup cameras and actually these front-looking or side-looking cameras also help a great deal. It helps me actually visualize where the boulders and trees are. And once we get to the boulder field, the rest of the road out is pretty straightforward. It's a little on the narrow side, and I brush a lot of the creosote bushes, but otherwise it was pretty straightforward. And before too long, we're off this road and back onto the highway and off to another adventure. Zzyzx Road. Now, isn't that a road that you just have to go down? The area was developed by a man named Curtis Howe Springer, and he developed a whole resort down in Soda Springs, which is where we're headed. And he did that on the strength of getting a series of mining claims from the BLM. Now, eventually the BLM realized that he wasn't doing any mining and tried to reclaim the land back, and wasn't successful until 1974.
Heading down Zzyzx Road to the old Zzyzx Spa and what is now the Desert Study Institute. This is part of the Mojave National Preserve and managed by BLM.
The road is about 4.5 miles long. It's paved most of the way with a couple little pieces that have washed out and are now gravel. But otherwise, the road is very straightforward to get down into the California Desert Institute.
So Shawn and I have come to the western side of the Mojave National Preserve, and we've come via the road, Zzyzx Road, which you access between Baker, California and Barstow. And you've probably seen this if you ever travel between Las Vegas and Southern California, Los Angeles. We decided to finally make a trip out and explore this location. This area that we're looking at with the little pond here is the Desert Studies Center from University of California, and it is not open to the public, so you cannot enter this spot. On the north side of the Desert Studies Center, you can follow this gravel path. It's a trail that's open to the public, so we're going to go down and explore where the lake is and see if there's anything left of the old health resort that used to be here.
There's a lovely but short trail that takes you around the little lake and gives you an opportunity to view the former spa, which is now CSU.
There's a little lake that was created from the springs, originally known as Soda Springs. This has long been known as a spring area by the Native Americans and other travelers who came through on the Spanish Trail. When Curtis Springer came and saw the potential for this, he decided to set up a mining claim, and then he proceeded to create a health spa, and he added some buildings. Unfortunately, he was a bit of a quack, and although he attracted a lot of people, his time was up when the BLM decided that he was squatting on government property rather than actually mining his claim. They evicted him in the 1970s. There's some of the original buildings that were probably used by the resort at the time. Probably quite good accommodations. This was the main building, an office. One end of it is built with rock. The interesting thing about the lake we showed you, which is right across the street from the office, is that Springer populated the lake with a fish, a chub that was endangered species. So he inadvertently spared the endangered species from extinction. There's a boat stuck up here on the shore of the lake in between two very tall palm trees. Looks a little large for the size of the lake, but maybe the lake was a bit larger in its prime. Here's a view across the lake over to the main resort buildings and now the desert studies buildings. The birds like this little lake and they're quite abundant here. Apparently other wildlife is often sighted here. We've seen some evidence of coyote droppings along the trail.
And here are some photos that we took during the walk around the lake. We sure hope you enjoy them. Well, I think it's time to bring this video to an end. If you enjoyed it, please give us a thumbs up.
And if you'd like to see more of our videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. We'd appreciate it. And we're getting close to having 500 subscribers. So we really thank everyone who has subscribed so far and ask your friends to join as well.
And if while you're subscribing, if you hit that little bell button, you'll be notified when we release videos.
If you have any comments, questions, thoughts, or ideas you want to share with us, we'd love to hear from you. Put it in the comment section down below. We reply to all of them.
And until next time, bye for now.
Bye for now.
And we sure hope you'll tune in next week as our adventures in the van move to Nevada.